Hello, Huskies, and welcome back to another episode of Talk a Latte with Jamie and Christian. We are both here. I feel like it's been a minute that we both have been hosting together.
Yes, definitely. Whether that's one of us missing or one of us as the guest, we are finally back together, and we have a guest as per usual. So, special guest, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Casey Nelson. I'm the manager of Study Away and Study Abroad at Michigan Tech.
Ooh.
So Casey is also in the IPS office, but he is a little bit on the opposite side of what we do. So we handle a lot with the international students, whereas Casey does a lot with helping incoming exchange students come, as well as sending our domestic students elsewhere. So we will be talking about all things study away and abroad today on this episode.
Casey, first question comes from all sects of the student population is, what is the actual difference between studying abroad and studying away?
I mean, study abroad is a type of study away. I think you'll even notice, like, my email is still studyabroad@mtu.edu, but study away is just a more inclusive term because we have a lot of domestic programs that I oversee as well, whether that's Michigan Tech programs that involve short stints, like a week-long trip to a certain location as part of a class, or whether that's our National Student Exchange Program, which I can talk about later, but exchanges to another university within the U.S.
So is away within the United States, but outside of Michigan Tech, and then abroad internationally?
Right.
Okay, great. And when we're talking about who is eligible, I know that you see a lot of the population that you see mostly caters to undergrad domestic students, but is this something that international students can take advantage of as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with our Michigan Tech-led programs. Our Michigan Tech faculty often incorporate graduate coursework into their programs too, so you may often see the programs marketed or promoted as having different undergraduate credits, but graduate students can also participate for the graduate credit or for the undergraduate credit as well, but we have a lot of programs that welcome graduate students.
And so a little bit of a two-parter here. So the first one is, what times of the year is someone able to study abroad or away? And then the second part is, if that is during the academic year, how does the balance between taking classes and studying work? Like, are you helping them with that process, getting set up with their classes? What are the requirements, and etc.?
Yeah, so I guess it really depends on the type of program. So with the Michigan Tech-led programs, these are typically short-term programs led by, as the name suggests, Michigan Tech faculty members. All the other participants are primarily Michigan Tech students. Some of them may welcome students from other universities to join as well, but these are typically programs where travel is a component of the course, or the entire course is taught over the entire class is taught over the course of travel to a particular destination. But if you are participating in an exchange program or one of our third-party programs, you're enrolling in courses at another university. So you're enrolling in coursework to reach full-time level status here at Michigan Tech. So you're taking at least the equivalent of 12 credit hours for a semester up to 18. But then we have lots of summer programs too, where students can take anywhere from 3 to 12 credits at an international summer school or anything like that. So there's tons of methods of study away, study abroad. Yeah, it's kind of hard to answer it all in one encompassing option because study away, study abroad doesn't look like one particular thing. There's lots of different means of studying away.
And let's break it down from the beginning. I mean, I was somebody that I went to college and I always loved the idea of studying abroad, but it always felt very expensive to me. It always felt, without even seeing someone like your iteration at my university, it felt something that was nice in theory, but not actually realistic. But talk me through someone like me that finds you. What is the first step to making this a reality?
So I guess the first point of emphasis is when I meet with a student, I kind of ask them what are your top 3 criteria for choosing a program? And some students don't really know how to answer this, and they just say, I don't know. But a student in your case who is talking about the cost of an experience, that would be one thing. So understanding the cost differences between the different types of programs. Are you an in-state student or an out-of-state student? What's your regular tuition rate? So with Michigan Tech-led programs, these will be, you'll take, if it's a summer Michigan Tech program, you'll enroll in 3 to 9 credits over the course of the program, and you're billed tuition for that, and there will also be a program fee that's associated that covers the cost of your housing and just the experiences over the course of the travel component of the program. So for these types of programs, students are able to utilize their Michigan Tech scholarships and financial aid to help offset the cost. Students do need to enroll, if you're depending on Michigan Tech scholarships, in 12 credit hours over the summer. So maybe that if you're doing a program that runs over the course of track A, that would involve maybe enrolling in an online course over track B to reach 12 credit hours, and you can utilize your Michigan Tech scholarships. Federal aid, students need to be enrolled in at least 6 credits over the summer to utilize federal aid. So if students receive Pell Grants or other types of federal aid, typically 6 credits is the threshold to receive any aid for that over the summer. Our spring break programs are typically, so the Michigan Tech spring break programs, students enroll in a course that's part of their spring semester enrollment. So let's say that semester you're enrolled in 15 courses, but you also want to participate in one of our 3 credit spring break faculty-led courses. So that just counts as, you're not paying additional tuition for that, you're just billed the program fee. It works as a course fee essentially. So there's a lot of courses that you take at Michigan Tech, you enroll in it, and there's an additional bill on your account that goes towards the operational costs to make that course a reality. So but those are cost effective because it is just applied towards your semester bill, and the 3 credits that you're taking goes towards your 12 to 18 credit plateau for the semester. There's no additional tuition costs.
And in terms of, you already mentioned, the course costs and things like that. Us in IPS, we've talked about this many times. We love our food, but something else that we love is money. So are there any additional scholarships that are available for those that may want to study abroad or study away?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it depends on the type of program you're applying for and what your circumstances are. For students that are Pell eligible, there's the Gilman Scholarship application. All students are eligible to apply for the Fund for Education Abroad, which is a national scholarship organization. Michigan Tech has a couple scholarships, particularly out of the College of Engineering. And a lot of them are country specific. Some of them might have length requirements. So there are additional scholarship opportunities to apply for as well. And I guess going into weighing the kind of like cost analysis, if cost is a issue for you, if students are looking at doing semester-long programs, most of your aid is going to continue to automatically apply if you do a semester study away program. And a lot of the programs, particularly if it's an exchange program, you're just billed Michigan Tech tuition for the semester. So there's a lot of different factors that go into determining, is this an affordable program for me? And there's so many programs out there that I really do kind of handle it on a case-by-case basis, student by student. So if you want to have that conversation, the best first step is to just book a study away advising appointment. So I can kind of give you guidance on which programs may be best for your specific financial situation.
And are there any sort of, before they get to that point of making an advising appointment, and we're here with Casey Nelson, who's our manager for Study Abroad, Study Away in IPS, are there any things that they can, any sort of things that they can start thinking about or preparing for? For instance, are there any Michigan Tech student requirements that they have to fulfill in order to be able to be eligible to go on one of these programs?
The two baseline requirements are students must be in good academic standing and must be in good conduct standing. From there, every single program may have different eligibility requirements. Some programs may have a GPA requirement. Some programs may require that you've at least completed 1 full year at Michigan Tech. Some programs, the only coursework that's taught in English is at the 3rd year or 4th year level. So there's a ton of variance, but baseline requirements, as long as you're in good academic standing and good conduct standing, you're eligible to participate in Study Away in general.
And you mentioned some, spring break trips, summer vacation trips. What are some of the places that you can go to? Just curious.
Yeah, so a couple of the spring break programs that are running this upcoming spring break are, there's a new program going to Suriname this upcoming spring break that's being proposed, and we have a tropical island biology in the Bahamas program, which has been run by the Biological Sciences Department for many, many years now. And we have several recurring summer programs, multiple in Germany. There's a humanities program in Germany, a College of Business program in Germany, a new program out of social sciences that's being proposed, that's Prague and Berlin. We have a Costa Rica program coming this upcoming summer. They do that every 2 years, and a lot of them may even recur every 3 years or every 4 years, so they're always on rotation. I keep the full list of Michigan Tech programs, Michigan Tech-led programs on our webpage with kind of notes if it's a program running in the upcoming year. But yeah.
Casey, I know that you work with not only the Michigan Tech-led programs, but also with third-party providers that help sort of ensure that we have contracts with that you can send students to these locations, receive students from these locations. Can you tell me the difference between sort of those two buckets? What is a Michigan Tech-led program versus if you were to take this separate program through a third party?
Yeah, so overall there's 3 types of programs. So we've talked quite a bit about the Michigan Tech-led programs. So these are programs that are specifically designed by a Michigan Tech faculty member. You're enrolling directly in Michigan Tech courses, and all of the other participants are Michigan Tech students. And typically they are running in length from a spring break up to 8 weeks over the summer. And then we even have, I've had some faculty reach out to me about the prospect of running a semester-long faculty-led program. So that's something that could be available in the future. And then our other types of programs are exchanges and third-party. So exchanges are, as the name suggests, universities where we exchange students. And as part of that exchange agreement, our students, if you were to study at the University of Oulu in Finland, for example, you're just billed Michigan Tech tuition as if it were a regular semester at Michigan Tech. Financial aid scholarships continue to apply. And ideally, we receive students from the University of Oulu in return as part of that agreement. We also have an exchange consortium. So I was talking about the difference between domestic and international programs too. Last year, Michigan Tech joined the National Student Exchange Consortium, which is a partnership of 170 universities across the United States, Canada, Guam, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So our students can study at any of those other participating universities. Again, you're billed Michigan Tech tuition, so you continue to receive your Michigan Tech scholarships because you're still enrolled as a Michigan Tech student, and you're attending the other institution as a visiting NSE consortium student. Third-party programs has a ton of variance within that field. They have winter programs, summer programs, semester programs. The biggest difference between a third-party program and an exchange is that every third-party program is going to have a program cost associated with it, and students are going to be billed that program cost. That program cost includes tuition at the host university, housing, different excursions included, and there's lots of different types of third-party programs too, but I don't want to get too into the weeds about all that. But essentially with these programs, students, for the most part, most of your aid is going to be eligible. There are a couple scholarships that have different stipulations like trip or tip, which may not be eligible to apply to third-party programs, but the vast majority of scholarships continue to apply. But some of these, you're attending a university similar to an exchange, and you're enrolling in courses there with local students. Some of them are specialized programs for study abroad students, so it might not be other Michigan Tech students, but it'll be other university students from around the United States who also have partnerships with, I'll use one of our third parties as an example, World Strides. So other universities around the U.S., they all have partnerships with World Strides. So you arrive to the site according to World Strides directions. They have airport pickup offered and stuff like that. You meet the other students on the program. It will be from other universities from around the U.S., and you'll be taking kind of like specialized coursework. Some of them are international summer school programs. Some of them are language immersion programs. There's a whole bunch of types, but yeah, that's kind of the main differences between Michigan Tech-led, Michigan Tech Exchange, and then our third-party partnerships.
A lot of options. And I know before we kind of talk about more of the steps, prior to your departure to study away or abroad, I did want to touch on the benefits of studying abroad. And word on the street is you also studied abroad as a student. So what do you think the benefits are? Would you recommend it to students? And what are your big takeaways that you had from your trips?
Yeah, I think it varies student by student based on what your goals are, but I guess I can talk about a little bit me personally. I went to Michigan, I came to Michigan Tech in 2012 as a first-year student. I'm from the town of Norway, Michigan, which is in the UP, and coming to Michigan Tech was actually just the second time in my life I ever came to a new school. Like K-12 is all one building.
Jeez.
Norway.
Jeez.
The Dollar Bay.
Yeah, so the adjustment to college was really, really difficult for me, actually, and I kind of always felt behind some of my peers in terms of the Michigan Tech experience as a whole, and kind of leveraging your experience in terms of planning for the future. There was one point I kind of stumbled across the study away fair accidentally, kind of cutting through Fisher as a weather shortcut on my way back to my dormitory in Wadsworth. And I just asked somebody if is there a program in the Dominican Republic? And that's just a deep personal story about why I was interested in the Dominican Republic. But at the time, yes, World Strides, one of our partner organizations, had a Dominican Republic program, and I kind of just followed the steps and ended up going. I was minoring in Spanish, but other than that, it was more just an opportunity to complete that. But I had never been outside the Midwest or spent more than a weekend in a town of more than 10,000 people before. So my experience, I just found out so much more about what I was capable of, and kind of like taking charge of my own time as a student. Every single day, I had saw something that I had never seen before. And I guess when I came back, that's when I started to notice kind of like the positive benefits of study abroad. When I came back, I think I was just so bored that I started jumping at every single opportunity to get involved in certain things, whether it was involved with IPS or International Club, or involved in WIM2, as I sit here in the WIM2 office talking into this microphone. But yeah, prior to Study Away, I was kind of treating my time at Michigan Tech almost no different than I was treating high school. I was going to class, I was doing my homework, but I wasn't really taking advantage of the experiences that exist to help you grow and become a successful person after your time at Michigan Tech. So it was through Study Away, Study Abroad, kind of like navigating the different trials and tribulations throughout that process that helped me kind of like start to become more independent and taking steps on my own to, I don't know, set goals for myself and reach those goals.
Yeah, and for someone that had not been in these big locations, I mean, I imagine the Dominican is very different than Norway, Michigan, and Houghton, Michigan. For our students that are listening and wanting to do this, but are just afraid to even approach one of our partners or make an appointment with you because they don't know how to navigate in a foreign country. What are some tips that you have for them, and what sort of moved you in that direction to be able to say, I'm going to do it?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Thank you.
I will say that, well, for me personally, like as a student, I was just kind of craving something completely different, kind of like on my own. But I understand some students might have that hesitance, and that's why I think our Michigan Tech programs with Michigan Tech faculty are kind of like a great way to maybe test out if you want to do a full semester somewhere. I guess that you'll have the support of and familiarity of other Michigan Tech students and Michigan Tech faculty on these programs, and it'll be a great intro into kind of like full cultural immersion. And let's see, I'm trying to kind of like trace back, but and I do have a lot of students, and even just the other day I met with a student who came to me to talk about a faculty-led program, and they're interested in applying, and at the end she was also like, I also want to learn more about these exchange and third-party programs for the future. Like, I'm going to do these faculty-led programs, and kind of I feel like that's the safer route, the extra familiarity and comfort of having other Michigan Tech affiliated people around you. And there are a lot of students that maybe they participate in a 2-week Michigan Tech program, and ultimately in the future apply to a semester-long exchange or a more independent experience where of like a month in the summer, but you're the only Michigan Tech student on that particular program through one of our third-party providers.
And I know it can be a scary leap, like you said, because it might be the first time you do something independent, or the first time you're in a new country or a big city or something. So I just have to plug the IPS podcast once again and let you know that if you are a student looking into leaving the country, studying abroad, we also have a culture shock episode that you may experience. I know my first time leaving the country, I definitely was culture shocked, even when we went to San Diego for our national conference. Definitely culture shock there too. So yeah, definitely take the opportunity though. It seems like a great opportunity and definitely a growth experience as well.
I have a few questions for you, Casey, just as a follow-up to that is, I know that you are so incredibly immersed. Everybody at IPS sees how much you dedicate to the students and preparing them for picking what's right for them and then guiding them through that whole process. What are some things, some takeaways that students can take of how to prepare for once they're actually leaving, getting on that plane, getting on that whatever mode of transportation to get to wherever they're going? What are some things that you have in mind for preparing for that?
So there's different levels of pre-departure support depending on the types of programs that you do. Our Michigan Tech-led programs, there will be several sessions, or it may be part of your coursework that's kind of like pre-departure and preparing you to arrive at the host site or host country. So there will be different discussions and kind of like info sessions on what to pack, how to dress, and how to kind of like maybe behave at certain points during the program if you're visiting certain attractions or locations or historical sites. What are some common greetings, and just because you may go to a place where you truly have no understanding. I also did a semester in South Korea when I was a student, without knowing any Korean prior to going. So I went through a third-party organization, and they do have a robust pre-departure program to kind of prepare you for those little cultural differences that are specific towards your site. I also lead a 4-hour pre-departure session for all students that are preparing to leave for the upcoming term. And when you arrive on site at your host university, you're going to have a welcome week and orientation where you meet all the other international students, where the one thing you have in common is that you're all students at other universities who decided to spend a semester on exchange at this particular university. And the demographics of that group will vary program by program. Maybe you'll be the only U.S. student, or there's a greater chance that you'll be the only Michigan Tech student on a program. But I would say the most independent experience is probably our international exchanges. But you will have people like my colleagues here in the IPS booth with me who are here to help our international students once they're here on site and kind of guide them through the steps they need to take to have a successful experience, and just here to answer any questions that you may have at any point. And then there's varying levels of support on our third-party programs. Many of them have 24/7 on-site support. Some of them, they just do pre-departure support, and they give you information for arriving and connecting with your host university, and then you're kind of in the hands of the host university's international office. And then with our third-party programs, again, there's going to be, just built into the program, there's going to be lots of pre-departure preparing as a group, where you're being instructed by the Michigan Tech faculty leaders on kind of how to pack, when to arrive, and stuff like that.
And I know you mentioned how some people, they know they want to study abroad, but they don't know where they want to go, where to start. How can a student go about scheduling an appointment with you to start having those conversations?
You can just Google Michigan Tech Study Away or Michigan Tech Study Abroad, and it ought to be the first link up. So I have a page that's Michigan Tech Study Away and Abroad Experiences, and there are links right on that webpage to schedule an appointment, whether in person or an appointment over Zoom. You can always walk in and ask to schedule an appointment. Sometimes I'll be free, sometimes I'll be in a meeting. You can just email studyabroad@mtu.edu, and I'll probably I have the links to schedule appointments in my email signature as well. So I'll just reach out and kind of pass that info to you. But I definitely encourage all students to do a little bit of exploring on our webpage. Like I have all the different types of programs listed, the Michigan Tech-led programs, the exchanges, both domestic and international, and then the various third-party providers that we work with, World Strides, University Study Abroad Consortium, Global Semesters, Frontier Abroad, Semester at Sea, John Cabot University. There's a lot, you get the idea. But and just kind of exploring what sticks out to you the most. And I always ask students to tell me the most ideal picture in your head of where, how long, and what classes. And that may not exist, but I really like putting the puzzle together of what program does best kind of match.
I do love how passionate you are and how much you talk about it, and how in-depth you talk about it, and helping ensure that all the students get to where they need to be and want to be. some fun questions that I always think when I think of study abroad. What are the most common places that you get, and how many times can a student actually take advantage of these experiences?
Yeah. So most Michigan Tech students who study away do it through our faculty-led programs. And again, those locations are changing. Some of them are every year, some of them rotate every other year. But we have multiple of those that go to Germany. So by default, that's probably where we send the most students, because we have multiple faculty-led programs there, and that's the means through which most students study abroad. But let's see. If students are doing a semester on their own, Norway is really popular. We have a program that I haven't even talked about this yet, called a European Project Semester, that allows students to complete their senior design capstone in one semester rather than over the course of a full year. So we have 5 or 6 different university partnerships where students are able to participate in that, and Norway is always popular. We have faculty here at Michigan Tech that are connected to Oslo Metropolitan University. Let's see, other common programs. I think because I do like kind of instructing students to kind of just start from a place of like, tell me what you're doing. I don't get a lot of repeats of students at a lot of locations. Our NCA program in FAME, we have a program in France that's specifically designed for our third year, second semester electrical engineers. So that's always popular. It's a lot less work for the student because the courses are pre-approved, and that's often a hurdle that some students find a little overwhelming, or maybe they don't start that process early enough. But let's see, I've had 3 different students in New Zealand in one semester, and all 3 of them were studying at different universities. So I really do like to kind of encourage students to follow just their goals, kind of like think about what their goals are and follow the ideal program in their head, rather than just telling students to go to a certain program because it's popular.
Will you send me on an all-expenses paid trip to England?
Me too, please. So we can record podcast episodes there. And then how many, I know I said it before, but how many, yes.
I mean, multiple times. I have one student who is on their 3rd semester studying abroad, and she's going to do her 4th one next semester to complete her degree. So you can really stack these experiences with incredibly careful planning. I'm not going to say that's easy to spend that many semesters on a study away program. This one particular student has been meticulously planning this since I met her in, must have been spring of 2024, I think, when she came back from a New Zealand program. But like I said, I've had multiple students participate in multiple faculty-led programs in the same year. They'll do a spring break program and then do a summer program. I've had students do a faculty-led program and then do a semester abroad. I have another student who's abroad right now who's going to do another semester abroad next semester. So students can definitely do it multiple times. Every student's situation is different. I don't like to make sweeping generalizations when I'm advising students. I really do like to kind of like dig into each student's individual scenario, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for what you do. I know it definitely sounds like a very successful program that you have running, and a lot of opportunities for our students. And once again, I have to shout out our producer who's also here with us, Farida. Say hello.
Hi, Jamie.
Thank you.
Well, Casey, thank you so much for being with us. This is something that, like I said, younger me is just itching at the possibilities of. I wish that I had met someone like you at that point in my life so that I could have maybe accomplished that. I was very thankful in my life to have traveled internationally, and I can't stress I think it's so important to be able to take advantage of these experiences. I think that you really learn so many different perspectives. I think that you grow a lot as a person going through these. And I think the takeaway is that I'm getting from you is, one, we have such a passionate person in IPS that'll help guide you through every single aspect of this to get you where you want to go. But second, that it is actually doable.
Definitely. Well, get out there, schedule an appointment with Casey, travel the world, and thank you again, Casey, for joining us. And we will see you next time for another episode of the Talk a Latte podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
This has been an IPS production with Michigan Tech University. If you would like to be featured in a future episode, reach out to us at ips@mtu.edu or come to our office in the administration building. Bye.